I've only listened to
Really?
Lonesome
Shit.
Crowd of West, Moon Antarctica. Every time we say it, it sounds drunk, huh? Like,
I know.
Moon
we sound like
Antarctica.
fucking idiots.
Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and, well, that's pretty much it. So, let's go!
This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different artist, different band, and we break down one of their records. We find out all the secrets about it, and we let you guys know, all the secrets. Dude, this is a terrible intro already. I missed the mark. It's all terrible. But my name is Tyler, and way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff. Go to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever you want to call it now. Give us 5 stars. Give us a nice glowing review on there, please. Social media, we have it all. It's at Asinine Radio. Get into that. We have a phone number if you want to call or text us. The phone number is 503-893-5307. And we have a Discord server. If you want to join that, hit us up. We'll send you the link. And chat with us. I don't know. So, you know what, Jeff? What album are we doing today? What are we doing?
We're doing Modest Mouse and their album, The Moon and Antarctica.
Now, Jeff, what is your origin story with the Modest Mouses?
Did you say go or no? You didn't say go.
Go.
But like you did not say go.
I
right?
did not say go. No.
Okay.
I did not.
So are we breaking format or?
So you're gonna play this game every time?
I mean, I don't know. It's just we do the same thing every single time. It's not difficult to just like repetition is key. You know what I mean?
Sometimes
we learn
I
things by
forget.
rote. It's fine.
Sometimes I forget. And
I mean,
yet
it
you
should
call
be
me out on
second
it.
nature. Do you ever forget to breathe? Like, do you just pass out sometimes because you forget to breathe?
I have.
Fuck. Well, you're so funny. I forgot to laugh. That's,
Yes.
Remember as a kid that was a legitimate insult you gave to somebody?
Yeah, it was devastating.
Oh, but it's so terrible. It's so funny.
It's a terrible
to laugh. Oh, it's so terrible. I first heard Modest Mouse the first song I heard by Modest Mouse was I think it was Float On. Float On was the first song that I heard by Modest Mouse. A lot of people at camp used to like Modest Mouse a lot, and they played Modest Mouse songs. I don't know anything about what they played. I don't remember what they played because it was too weird. It was too weird for me. They wouldn't try and sing it like Isaac does, but they would try and harm the way Isaac would harm. Like one would do high, one would do low. A lot of the talking underneath like the high-pitched singing type of thing would happen a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember that, but the first time I heard Modest Mouse was Float On. And I wasn't that impressed. I was like, okay, that's kind of a cool song. That's a little unique. But then I honestly listened to the song The View. The View is my favorite Modest Mouse song. It's from the same album. Good news for people that like bad news. And I just thought, like, dude, this is fucking rad. This is so cool. This is such a cool bass line. This is such a quirky song. This is so different than Float On. I really like this. But I never went back. I went forward. And their next album that was released in 2007, I thought was like really shit. I just didn't like it. Even still to this day, I don't like it. And it wasn't until like many years later that I went back and listened to The Moon and Antarctica.
There you
because it was a recommendation from somebody from camp. They're like, yeah, dude, you should really listen to that one. It's really fucking good. And this was probably like 2010-ish, maybe, give or take. Yeah, 2010-ish. And I just thought, like, holy fuck, this is absolutely amazing. This is so much better than I thought it was going to be. And it devalued good news for people who like bad news. It really did. Like, it made me not like that album as much because this was so goddamn good. Mm-hmm. So, fast forward all these years, and throughout the years, I've listened to Modest Mouse albums here and there, but I've never gone back and listened to their first album until this week. I've only listened
Really?
to Lonesome
Shit.
Crowded West, Moon Antarctica. Every time we say it, it sounds drunk, huh? Like,
I know,
Moon
we sound like
Antarctica.
idiots.
And then their fifth album, When We Were Dead Before the Ship Sank, with Dashboard on it. And then really, that's it. I've never listened to their first album until this week. And
That's weird.
Dude, I was
Yeah.
fucking pleasantly surprised. And I loved it so much. And this week has been really fun for the most part. Yeah, their later albums I did not care for like at all. But God, dude, I had a blast with this album. And I have it on the vinyls. And you got it from that fucking dude over in Glendale or some shit. And
Yeah, fucking some faraway town.
And oh my, I'm very happy with it. The sound's not like that great. It's not the best pressing I've ever heard. It's 180 gram, but it's not like the best thing ever. But I already think this is a very intimate record, and just having it on the vinyls and be able to like feel something tangible, it makes it more intimate than it already is, and therefore it's been such a great ride. It's been such a great week.
What were you going to say? Great ride?
Great Rick. I was going to say Great Rick. That's what I was going to say. Dude, this Moon Antarctica thing has just got me all...
You can't even say it.
Got my brain all pooed up.
Oh, shit. I don't remember the version you have on vinyl. It has surface noise, right?
So when I first played it, it had skips, it had surface noise... I had all these fucking problems. I was like, God damn it. Like, I damn near messaged you like, fool, you better get my fucking money back. But I think it's because the guy that had it never played it. And sometimes with new records, it will skip and it will have things because the grooves have not been like set in stone yet in some capacity.
Yeah.
And so I played it again and it played perfectly fine. And then, the second time or the third time, the fourth time, the 10th time, it plays absolutely fine. There's a little bit of surface noise, and I think some of the channels are kind of messed up. So some of the layering doesn't sound as good as I think Modest Mouse wanted it to sound. Because when I listen on Spotify, some of the channels are clear, like left and right channel are clear what they want to do. Like the guitars on the left and right are equally as loud, but on the vinyl, sometimes it'll have one guitar a lot quieter than the other one, which I think they don't want.
Probably. It just sounds like a bad pressing from them, not because it's scratched or whatever.
And I think I'm just looking at Discogs too. Some other people have the similar complaints. So, but I mean, dude, fucking, I love it. It's good. It's good
and
stuff.
the reason I asked too is because a lot of the stuff that was in that lot has a little bit of surface noise. So that was why I was asking. Otherwise, everything else I've gotten from that lot, there hasn't been like any skips or anything like that or loops. It's just a little bit of surface noise.
And I based that off of... So I got two things from you. I got this one, and then I got the Linkin Park, Thousand Suns.
Yeah.
And that one also has parts of it that have like a little bit of surface noise. But I think it's because whoever owned these just never played them. And because they sat in a crate and probably were moved around, and so they rubbed against, like if you rub your hands against each other, that friction.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why you're getting surface noise. You're getting these super superficial scuffs from the paper against the vinyl, and that's the surface noise because it's never been played. Like this record's been played just maybe 2 times. Like, there's nothing fucking wrong with it. Because like, there's a lot of ring wear, and that comes from like friction.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I'm happy with it.
Just thought I would ask.
Yeah, so that's my I don't know, that's my intro.
Your origin story. Okay.
Origin story.
All right, my origin story is similar to yours. The first thing I ever heard was Float On MTV. I didn't like it then, and I do remember a lot of back in the day, and the ending credits for like any normal TV show would always have like a music video playing over the credits, and for like months it was the Float On video playing as the ending credits for whatever show I was watching. And dude, I just did not care for it. K-Rock played it a lot. I didn't like it. I still don't like it. The album didn't impress me when I listened to it this week on my listen through. And honestly, the only reason why we're doing Modest Mouse right now is because a couple weeks ago on Spotify, they have that feature, the Discover Weekly thing, where it just gives you a bunch of songs that they think you'll like. a Modest Mouse song ended up being on it called Shit Luck off their second record. And I thought it was fucking really great. And that kind of spurred the conversation on, should we do Modest Mouse next? And that's why we're here. So that second record is really, really fucking good. It doesn't sound a lot like this record, but this record's still really good. It has some good stuff on it. Some whatever stuff, but it has some really good stuff too. So that's my origin story, a little bit of initial thoughts on this one. So let's jump into stinkers. Do we have any stinkers on this one?
No. I have no stinkers.
I have one stinker.
Ooh, what do you got?
Wild Packs of Family Dogs.
Wow.
I did not like the song at all. I didn't like it at all.
Okay. Well, before we get into that, I will tell you my stinkers because that's my 4B.
Okay.
I don't have any stinkers, no. I have one song that I think could be an okay song, but it's like borderline.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I Came as a Rat. That's the only song on this album that I thought I would even consider naming as an okay song.
Okay. I can understand that. I can understand that.
Is that a banger for you?
No, it's not a banger. No.
Okay, then we got to talk about it then. So
we don't have to.
I'm gonna highlight it in red.
Okay.
Not delete it.
Good. Look at that. You're learning. You're finally evolving.
For now. I'll
years.
delete it after we're done here, but not
Why?
Really.
What is the point of deleting it? I don't get it.
Why do I need to have just create a new doc every single time we do this?
That's what I do every week.
Doesn't your Google Docs get full?
No. I think I'm
Just
still at like
infinite amount of Google
I think
Docs.
I'm
So you have
still at
500 in there.
Less than 2% filled. Yeah, I make new notes every single week.
Okay, fuck it. Starting now, I will not.
I've literally been doing this since we started the new format 2 years ago.
That's nuts to me. That's truly nuts to me.
I do.
But okay, all right. I'm going to highlight them in red regardless, but I will not delete it. Starting.
Then
now.
Where do you keep your rankings at?
A separate doc. This is one doc that's all of my rankings.
Oh, okay. No, I don't do that. That's stupid.
Yeah, one convenient doc that has all of my rankings is stupid. Yes, you're right. Let's get into Wild Pack of Family Dogs. Family Dogs.
Yeah, this is my only stinker. I don't like the country folky twangy sound. I actually find it very annoying, and I don't think it's a very exciting song. I don't like his voice. It's too country sounding, which I already have a lot of problems with. On top of his voice already, like I understand they were trying to do something different here. I just don't think it. To me, it didn't sound that good. So what do you think of this one?
Overall, I think this album brings forth just, if anything else, just contrast. This album just kills it at contrast. There's a lot of different tones, a lot of different ideas being thrown out there. And Wild Pack of Family Dogs is arguably like the biggest contrast on the album.
Oh yeah.
It is my 4B. And yeah, it is extremely folky. It's an easy acoustic guitar and it's an easy melody. It's short, but it has like the coolest fucking story. And it's super stripped down because it wants you to focus on like the story. Mm-hmm. Because dude, like this guy writes songs that are pretty goddamn good. Like he writes songs that are so fucking ambiguous, but at the same time, like everybody can agree that it probably means this, but everyone else can have their own interpretation. And that's insane. And he's notorious when asked, like, what's this song about? And he'll say one thing and then say another thing and be like, oh, I don't remember. But he's just being a facetious little shit.
It's so annoying.
Like, it's so annoying. Good, though. That's what makes a fucking great songwriter, is just somebody that wrote something at the time because he felt some way, but then realizes that that song that was so subjective to him then is still subjective to him now, and is subjective to you and me. So that's like lyrically, this entire album was just a mess to get through, but I had so much fun getting through it. And that's why I did my Tom DeLonge thing, because it took me a while to get through this, but I had a great time. This is one of my favorites that we've done.
Really? Lyrically or just overall?
I think, no, both. I think this album is fucking absolutely fantastic. I think, as far as like indie rock goes, there's nothing better than this. As far as like making everything work for you, as far as lyrics, making the lyrics contrast with the music, and then making the music contrast with itself. not just the layering of the guitars, but the way the guitar plays with the bass, the way the bass plays with the drums, the way the drums interact with the guitar. Everything is kind of doing their own thing, but it's always kind of at arm's reach of each other. But it all fits. It's incredibly well crafted. And it's interesting to know that this is their major label debut.
Yeah,
this is
Epic.
This is like them, stopping and scrimping for pennies to record an album. Now they have a bunch of money, and they write an album that like would make major labels cringe, because this is not what they wanted. This is not what a major label would want when you sign an act.
Yeah,
This is extremely complex, and it's even like I listened to this album like fucking 10 times this week. It's just, it's unreal. It is truly unreal. Different emotions that are involved from beginning to end. I think each song individually tells its own story, but it's also part of a bigger cohesive story from front to back. Everything about this is just extremely well crafted.
Yeah. To an extent, I agree with you on that. I think production-wise, I think it sounds really, really great. It's just his vocals sometimes they just bother me so much. And to me, sometimes it kills the mood of a song. But musically, there's some really rad parts. But this particular song, it was a little too quirky for this record, I feel. Like this could have fit better on the next record, the one with Float On. I forgot the name of the record now, but
good news for people who like bad news.
Yeah, it's more of a song for that record rather than this. This is them. I mean, there's still a lot of that edginess and the rawness of it with some pop, but this is way too poppy for the record.
So like I think this album is sequenced in a way that you need it, like because you need this song coming off of The Stars Are Projectors. Mm-hmm. Now you get Wild Pack of Family Dogs, which is just it's a much needed break, because before Stars Are Projectors you have which is my 1B part. It's two parts: the cold part and then Alone Down There. Mm-hmm. Like that 3 song, that 1, 2, 3 punch. It's so fucking intense. And then Wild Pack of Family Dogs hits you with this really like folky, and you think you can breathe. You think you have a moment of just, oh, finally I can just relax and dumb my brain down. Mm-hmm. But then it's got this like really complex story that a lot of these songs I've never even like looked at with a keen eye until this week, and they've meant something completely different to me this week than they ever have before. And this is one of them.
So what do you think? Because to me, the hardest part was figuring out the lyrics, because like we've said time and time again, we're not really lyric men up until recently. We weren't lyric men up until recently. And I felt his lyrics were so confusing. And I understand that was kind of the point, but it was also very frustrating because I wanted to find something there. And so to me, sometimes it felt like it was just word vomit, and it was just there to be there. Like there was not a lot of meaning. And I don't know. It's kind of irritating when you can get so many different meanings from one thing. That's just me.
I mean,
and this is one of those songs. It was, I think my interpretation might be very different than yours. Like probably it sounds already very different from what you're saying.
Much like the subjectivity of music itself, I like listening to a piece, even if it's horrible and bad and awful. I will always enjoy a piece where I think something completely different than somebody else. I will at least give something that it will at least get some merits from me, because of its vastly difference in personality from person to person. And I think Modest Mouse really does that. And when I say Modest, I really mean Isaac Brooks. Like the guy is just, I think he's a lyrical genius. I think he's absolutely fucking fantastic. I think he's amazing. I think he's great.
Have I been getting his name wrong?
Isaac Brock. Brooks Brock?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I thought, oh, fuck, I've been saying his name wrong the whole time. It's Isaac Brock, yeah.
Yeah. Brock like
okay,
Lesnar.
Sorry. Yeah, or like Brock from Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about other Brock that I know. I can only think of Lesnar. but Brock from Pokemon works.
Yeah, you know.
Arguably more popular than Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. He
Brock from
specializes in
Pokemon's
rock
more
type
popular than
Pokemon.
Brock Lesnar?
No.
Do you think right now on Earth, you took a poll of everybody on Earth and you said, who do you recognize more? And you put a picture of Brock and a Brock Lesnar. Do you think Brock would win or Brock Lesnar would win?
With the picture, Brock would win because
But what about a picture with a tattoo of that sword on his chest, Brock Lesnar?
I think I don't think it matters. I think a picture of Brock from Pokemon you would recognize over Brock Lesnar because you automatically know it's an anime. Like you have that connection. You probably know it's Pokemon.
I think you're right. It's just small circles of wrestling and UFC. Definitely not as wild as anime and Pokemon.
True, and
what
also
are you talking about here? What's going on?
Wrestling is more American or North America, but Pokemon is worldwide.
Pokemon is life. Pokemon is forever.
It is. Okay, let's get back to this.
So yeah, like Wild Pack of Family Dogs. So what do you got for this one? I'm curious.
So
and then
lyrically, I feel like this is about mental illness, which a lot of his lyrics seem to be about, and depression specifically, and about how it runs in families, it's hereditary, and how he's kind of wondering why people continue to have children knowing that they are mentally ill, and more likely than not, they're going to pass down the genes that cause, or whatever they're going to pass down, certain mental illnesses. That's what I think it's him just kind of questioning why do people decide to do that, and why is it allowed to happen? So
I guess I should backtrack a little bit. We should backtrack a little bit. Do you think this album, because I do want to get back into this, but I think it's very important for this album. Do you think there's a theme of this album? Do you think this album flows like cohesively?
I think the only theme is depression. I think that, or I think that's the big theme is his depression and his internal thoughts on that, and that's really it. Like I don't think there's some I feel like there's some stuff that could be related to relationships, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship. Like there's one song I can't even think right now, but there's one that could be taken like he's talking about, girlfriend, or it could just be a really really close friend of his. But I think that's only like maybe 3 songs. But to me, everything else is straight up about depression. I know some people said that they think that there's a few songs that are directly related to religion, but I didn't pick up on that. Maybe some dying, like death, but I feel like that's more with the anxiety of dying and what happens after death. I don't think that's related to religion. But I guess we'll get into that once we get into those particular songs. But overall, okay. I think it's about depression and his own mental illness. Yeah, that's what I got.
There's so much to unpack here. Like, truthfully, I think there's so much. I don't even know where to begin. I'm staring at the vinyl right now. And
we're still on this one song. So
I know, but it's just like because Isaac Brock is just known for being. He's not religious, but he does bring religion to his songs quite often, and he talks about it quite often because he doesn't hate religion. He doesn't love religion. He questions religion. He doesn't understand it, but he wants to understand it. And that's a common theme with this album, and a lot of Modest Mouse albums is questioning. And I think the overall concept of this album is uncertainty,
But I think it's more about his own anxiety on death rather than questioning anything else on religion. I feel like that's the only thing that ties it into the religion is his anxiety of death and what happens after death, or what happens to those after death.
So I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares what happens after death because they're okay. So Wild Pack of Family Dogs.
But if he does, then he wouldn't have the anxiety of it. That's the thing.
But I don't think he has anxiety of death. I don't think he has anxiety at all. I think he's just. I think he likes to question things. He likes. Oh my God! It's the last line of the album is just so good. Wild Pack of Family Dogs. Let's try and hone it down. You're right. Let's hone it down. Let's buckle down.
So what do you got? What do you interpret the song to be?
So this could be like Isaac is watching life unfold in front of him, and dealing with negative or disastrous events, and how he deals with these events by blaming them on metaphorical pack of dogs, like his dog dying, his sister leaving for worse, or a worse life, or abandoning their family, whatever, and the untimely, his father neglecting his job or whatever. But reading it this week, I thought like because of an earlier song, I said, what if what if he's telling, what if this is God telling us a story through the eyes of like Jesus as a narrator? Jesus sees these dogs who represent like destruction. God manages to keep them at bay, God being his father. He manages to shoot his gun, keep them at bay. You know, Jesus' own dog betrays them by leaving with this pack of dogs, by leaving with this destruction, like Judas does.
Judas, yeah.
Diz,
Diz,
did.
yeah, Diz.
Diz, does and did. He still does it to this day.
Pod talking, man. Pod talking.
When the dogs came back and took his sister, like I read that as essentially, this is the last bit of innocence of humanity. And that subsequently making Mary cry. The blood from the eyes, like them cool fucking bleeding eye statues that we see so significantly in religious zealot literature. And then lastly, like God gives up. He gives up and quits his job. God called him sick today. Gives up and quits his job of protecting man, and eventually Jesus knows he's gonna fucking die again.
Yeah.
And the dogs finish their job of destruction and return home to whatever religious belief you have. They go up to the sky, which is such a timeless thing of like going up to the sky, right? The mountain in the sky, everything in the sky, everything always goes to the fucking sky. And I think Wild Pack of Family Dogs perfectly, I don't know, sums up that belief of how shitty man is. And I think that goes along lines, and this is the 10th track. This goes along line with the concept of the album of uncertainty, not just in like religion, but of how we treat each other. And if you look at the album cover, the moon and Antarctica, those are two things that are very similar, right? The surface of the moon and the surface of Antarctica, very similar, very desolate, very lonely, very cold, but they're so far away. Like, how could the moon possibly be the same as Antarctica when the Antarctica is hours away from us, where the moon is days away from us? It's crazy to think that they're so similar but so far away. And then the handshake on the cover, it's two worlds coming together and saying we can live in harmony, even though whoever those hands are, you know, they're coming from the sky. They're coming from above. They're not coming from the ground. They're coming from above. They're wearing the white sleeves. So, you know, you're already thinking godlike creatures.
Yeah.
They're making a pact with us. You behave this way and I will treat you this way. And Wild Pack of Family Dogs goes along lines of, you did not behave this way, so now you're fucked. I'm leaving. Fuck off. And this is not the first time on the album that Isaac will say that God just told man to fuck himself and I don't give a shit anymore.
That's a very interesting theory and interpretation. Like I mean, now that you break it down like that, I could definitely see it, but I didn't pick up on that.
And this is just like, this was like an easy one. Some of the other ones that goes into it, I love when he like personifies a deity and takes on this perspective of God essentially damning man because man is a douche. And he does it several times over this album, and it's so cool. It's so great. It's so thought-provoking. And again, above all else, I think this album's concept, its theme is uncertainty met with complacency. Because overall, this whole album, we'll get into it, and we'll talk about how thought-provoking it is and how crazy it is and how amazing it is and how I think it's so deep. And you start to think about all these existential topics and everything, but it ends with, whatever. Who gives a fuck? Much like when you're drunk and you have these conversations with somebody and you get really into it and stuff, and the next day you don't give a shit. Yeah. Because it was drunk talk. That's what this album is. This album is exactly like that. Because the last song, What People Are Made Of, My 5B, it essentially ends with like, whatever. We're all just made of water and shit. Whatever. And so this entire album, this entire fucking album, he has posed these questions into our mind of higher powers and getting deep into our own psyche and the human condition. And he ends the entire album with, whatever. Like, this is fucking classic. That's so good.
I really enjoy your interpretation of it. I think that's
it's so human, dude. I just can't. Oh my God. Can't even. I cannot even. You can't see my face, but it's very serious.
You can't even. Should that go on the no-no list?
No, I can't even, because I can't even finish the sentence. That's what that is. What does that mean? I can't even. Does that mean I can't finish the sentence? Is that what that means?
It just means you're dramatic.
Oh.
Unnecessarily dramatic.
Should I just say Tyler, right now I'm being unnecessarily dramatic. What if I'm being necessarily dramatic, though? How would you know? What's the difference?
There's a difference.
Tone?
There's a difference.
It's just tone? Should
It's
I be better
tone.
at articulating
It's tone,
my tone?
and it's tone and it's subject. The subject matter.
Okay. I don't think I can't even should be on the no list. But I think it's something we should be cognizant about.
Just be careful. Just be careful.
Yeah, okay. It should be on the
Please be
It's
careful.
been the precautionary no list.
It should be on. It's riding that line. You know,
Riding that fence, baby.
it's riding that line. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
shit.
All
That's
right.
stupid.
Do you have any B's?
I have 4 B's.
What is your 1B?
My 1B is Alone Down There.
Oh, baby boy.
Alone Down There.
Okay.
This is a nice throwback to the first 2 records. It's more the 90s emo indie thing, and then the pop style, which was nice. I like that they really kind of threw it back there. The calmer parts remind me actually a bit of Pink Floyd, and and then it just drops into the heaviness again, and it kind of goes back and forth. It's a nice back and forth between the kind of ethereal, dreamy stuff of like the Pink Floyd sound with the heaviness, where he just kind of screams or does that. It's not even a scream. It's just like 90s emo. That was 90s emo. And I think this is an absolute banger. Absolute banger. Alone Down There. What is this?
Okay.
This is your 1B too, right?
This is tied for my 1B. I think this and the color or the cold part.
The cold part, yeah.
They need to be. I think it should be one song. I honestly think it should be one song. I think
Yeah,
they go
it
hand
could be
in
really
hand.
cool. Yeah. Well, the cold part is my 2B. So
Okay.
yeah, but they're 2 very different songs. I guess we can talk about both of them right now, right?
Because I don't think they're 2 different songs. I think they're complementary. I think
They-
they
they're
contrast each other.
They do they contrast each other, but they're still 2 very different songs because the cold part is more of an instrumental. It's much slower. It kind of reminds me of a song that could have been off of Jimmy Eat World's Clarity. It kind of has that way of kind of slowly driving along, but have those like cool soundscapes that aren't soundscapes because they're all created by guitar effects. You know, they're not using synths or like a massive amount of synths or anything like that. And I'm reminded a lot of Clarity with this particular song. And then you get into the heaviness of Alone Down There mixed with a little bit of the Pink Floyd, like the softer Pink Floyd stuff. I think it's a great 1-2 punch.
I see it. I agree. I think so. The cold part, I think the lyrics is a backup to the music. The backup is, or the music itself is what's conveying the emotion, the direction, everything about the music is what you should be focusing on. And that is, I don't know, that is the sense of like goodbye. That's the sense of saying goodbye to something and farewell, but it's told through the music. It's a feeling of loneliness. There's this lonely feeling of the music here, and it's like the semi-broken drum beat at times will like bring you back from getting too attached to the rhythm. That droning bass line kind of keeps you going, even though you don't want to. You have to jump into that bass line because it's constant, and it hits those root notes so hard and so heavy that they ring, and so you can't help but be attached to it. But that broken drum beat kind of like snaps you back to reality. And this music just feels lonely. It's got this dramatic buildup that takes a while to lead us to where it wants. It takes 5 minutes to get to the destination, which gives us this feeling of helplessness. It's in line with like various themes of this album. And I think, again, like this is a song that the music precedes the lyrics. But then we transition to Alone Down There. And this is supposedly a song written by Isaac when he hallucinated talking to the devil or whatever. But I think that's just a tale to sell records or whatever. But ultimately, I think this is, I don't know, this is like a sort of self-realization moment. Alone Down There is a sort of self-realization moment. And I think it's just him feeling down and feeling like alone, down in like the pit of his heart. And I like the way that his voice cracks during the feel alone part. I think it's honest. I think it's super good. And Modest Mouse slays. And they've done it multiple times over the course of their career. They slay at taking a riff and repurposing it on the same album as a different song. And that's what they did in Alone Down There. They took the riff from Cold Part and they tweaked it a little bit to stretch the feeling and the mood of the previous song, and then now make it an entirely different song. And I think that's why it's a two-parter, because one song is about saying goodbye, and this one is about what happens after you say goodbye, which is super dope if you think about it, because even in like a super toxic relationship, anything you want to give to it, when you make a conscious decision, not just like, yeah, I'm going to stop doing this. It's like, no, when you finally actually are real with yourself and you make a decision, I'm going to stop doing X, then it's like human to just feel lonely right afterwards because you still miss that. There's a lingering feeling of self-doubt and like a minimal regret part of it. That's just part of it. You know what I mean? Like breaking up with somebody or quitting alcohol or whatever it is. There's always that moment of regret or self-doubt that you think you cannot do it alone. And that is alone down there does perfectly, is to build off of the cold part. It's an unreal two-parter. It truly is unreal.
I agree with you that they go hand in hand, and I feel like to me the story here is, you know, the cold part is just the deepest of deep depressions and thinking about death or suicide, whatever you want to say, and then getting to alone down there is when you're at the bottom, and death does come, and then you're stuck essentially at, I guess, limbo. I guess maybe not limbo, but I guess at the point where they're going to make the decision on where you go, heaven or hell, you know, good or bad, you know. And then, because I read that too, that the song Alone Down There is about, you know, his hallucination with the devil. Lyrically, I mean, looking at reading the lyrics, I couldn't make any sense of it. So just basing it off of what he has said, I feel like that song is about him seeing the devil or talking with like evil, saying like, you know, you made the decision of committing suicide, you made the decision of dying intentionally, and this is the repercussions of it, and how terrifying it is for him. And so I feel like it's that story. It's the story of him. It's the story of him of leading up to the suicide and then, or death, or what, I guess suicide, and then the aftermath of that, meeting your worst fears, whether that be the devil or whatever it is. It's just coming against your worst fears and having to confront those fears. That's kind of what I get. But I mean, who the fuck knows at this point? Because his lyrics are so out there. I don't know. That's what it's so difficult. It's been so difficult with this.
I love that he's so outspoken against being religious. He's not like outspoken against religion. He's just outspoken against being religious. And whenever people ask him about like, what are you, Christian? He's like, oh, dude, just like ask me something else. And but he's never, I mean, he does sometimes, but he never like really attacks religion. He's always just like, ask me something else. Ask me something that matters. It doesn't fucking matter what I believe in. What it matters is like how I feel, like how I act, like what my actions do, how I affect other people, how they affect me. It's always just this weird like cycle, this weird sort of like Buddhist / Jedi cycle of how everybody's connected in some way. And so when he says it's about like the devil, it's not the devil that Christians think as the devil. It's just something bad. I think it's just thing.
Yeah. I didn't necessarily mean the devil. I just meant more the afterlife and what happens.
I use the devil a lot too, but it's not the devil that we think of in you know, religious forms. It doesn't have to be a Christian devil. With the pitchfork and the horns. Yeah. It's just your inner demons, especially, I guess.
But I feel like I think, like I said, I think this is still a song about him questioning what happens in the afterlife and whether or not he was a good person, and he's confronting all the, like I said, the demons, so to speak, of his life in the afterlife. So,
and this is a guy that uses his voice as an instrument, and that's, I mean, love it or hate it, that's why he does what he does, and it's very unique. There's not a lot of singers that do it, because it's pretty ballsy to even do, but the highs and the lows that he can layer on himself, he uses his voice as an instrument. And so sometimes, you know, he will say words, but really it's the emotion in the way he says those words. It's not the words themselves.
Yeah.
And that's why I love this album. But yeah, that was your 1B, your
That was
2B.
my 1B, yeah. I mean, I honestly want to play both of them. Because I think they're both...
We could play fucking 7 minutes of music. That's fine.
Well, no, I mean, I what I'm thinking is like do like a minute of the cold part and then kind of go into a minute of the other song.
Oh, yeah.
Does that sound good? You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a bit of the cold part and then going into Alone Down There from the Modest Mouses. There you go, Alone Down There, and also, the cold part for that. It's all good stuff, man. I tried to make that transition sound good
That was
and
great.
seamless, but
Fantastic transition.
you didn't even hear it. You can't even hear
stupid.
it. I tried to make it sound good, but whatever.
That's right.
There you go. I mean, do we have anything else on these songs? Lyrically, musically, what do you think?
No. That's it.
Okay. So then what is your 3B?
Those are my 2B. Those are my 1B, because I think they're one song. I group them as one song. My 2B is the next song, The Stars Are Projectors.
This is actually my 5B. I misread.
Fucking better misread. Better fucking misread.
You're an idiot. Sorry, what do you think about this one?
I like musically, the back and forth between the harder parts and the softer parts just seem like a natural back and forth between keeping your faith or values and questioning them, because I think that's a lot what this album goes into, and that's a lot what the song goes into. And I think that's again, like the music here is taking the driver's seat. Mm-hmm. And fuck, this song is so good. I don't know. I have a lot to say about this song. I have a lot of notes written about this song.
Okay. I guess musically for me, this is a little bit of a slower song to it, but it still has that kind of like swingy vibe. Why did I say vibe? I hate that fucking word.
Vibage.
But it's still very ethereal and dreamy sounding at the same time. It's very... I don't want to say Pink Floyd because it's not Pink Floyd. It doesn't sound like that. But
there's a lot of similarities on this album to Pink Floyd, though.
Yeah, more so than any of their other records, that's for sure.
Yes.
But this particular song, this goes really well after after Alone Down There, because especially lyrically and musically too, because this, to me at least, this song gives a more of a like a airy vibe, like a little bit happier, but still a little bit more melancholy. And lyrically, it talks about, this is also about the afterlife, about after you die, and it talks about how once that happens, everything you ever wanted to know in life is immediately answered for you. Any questions you had are answered, and I feel like that goes hand in hand with him essentially meeting his demons, but then finding clarity and finding I guess clarity is the word I can think of right now to describe it, and then finding out everything about not society of life, and that's, I think it all goes hand in hand, these three songs in particular.
Yeah.
But the only reason it's a 5B and not like a 3, because of the actual music itself. But as a story, I think the story goes.
Dude, that intro is gold. The intro is gold. It is crazy. It is hectic. I fucking love it. But I there's a lot of thinking. This one's heavy. Like on an easy note, I think this is about understanding our limitations when it comes to creation and existentialism and being okay with it. Mm-hmm. Like the first chorus is meet your maker scenario, and Isaac is presenting that it's probably not going to be all great, since the world has always been allowed to go to shit. Mm-hmm. So you meet your maker, and it's probably not going to be the way you think it's going to go. It's not going to be all a bed of roses type of thing. It's probably going to be a little bit more, blunt, I guess. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like if you really, honestly, like if you died and you met God, you're like, oh wow, God, tell me everything. God's like, what the fuck were you thinking? You know what I mean? Like, why would God automatically just be kind to you and amazing to you and open you? Like, you've done a lot of bad in your life. You've done more good, but I don't know. I think it's silly that us humans always think that when we die, we're going to somewhere better. Like, why can't we go to somewhere equally as shit or equally as good? Why does it always have to be Nirvana, whatever. It has to be better. I think Isaac is presenting these thoughts. He's presenting like, why does it have to be like that? It could possibly be shit. You meet your maker and he's a dick, or she's a dick, as he posits later on.
But then that also plays into the theme of the record of his just depression and anxiety, not having a more positive outlook. How he's constantly worrying about the future, whether that be in the living form or wherever we go after. In his mind,
see, I don't think there's any depression on this album at all. I don't hear any kind of.
I think it all
whatsoever.
stems from it. I think it all stems from it.
I don't think so. I think it's all just about asking these hard questions, and I think like musically it follows perfectly with I don't know, just what I, being on my high horse here, what I think this song means, and like any natural progression of thought in a sense of like digging deeper into the questions is going to make your mind race, right? When you start thinking about like, where do we come from? Who is God? What is God? Where did God come from? You're going to start asking more questions, and the more questions you ask, the more questions are presented as an answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you say, what is God? You're presented with, where did God come from? Who created God? You ask one question, you get 5 questions back instead of an answer. And the way the song builds on itself is it speeds up in answering these questions of like God and who is God. But then it slows down at the end to finally kind of accept the fact that there's really no way to actually answer these questions. And so that's why I think this album isn't based in any kind of depression. I think it's based in just kind of, I don't know, just being bored and wondering shit when you're drunk or high. Because, I mean, the outro is almost 3 fucking minutes. And it's so goddamn perfect. The song just wants us to sit back and think about what just happened. Dig into ourselves. Just pontificate. The instrumental is easy to follow, but it still keeps the tone and feeling of the song, of the album. We're already 9 tracks deep. And it all comes down to a slow stop, like 2 guitars picking their own thing in each different channel of stereo. And this is where the whole vinyl thing kind of came into play. Because listening on Spotify, the 2 guitars on each channel sounded fantastic. And it was like when you hear 2 different things going on and the guitars are doing their own thing, but they're still kind of keeping in time with each other a little bit. But that's a push and pull. That's a contrast. One person is telling you one thing. Another person is telling you another thing. Your faith is telling you one thing. Your logic is telling you another thing. This kind of contrast, this kind of question and answering, these are like the main themes of the album. And I love that, which I didn't hear that on the vinyl that much because I don't think the stereo picked it up that well. But Spotify, I think
it's easier to hear when you're. Did you listen with earbuds?
Yeah. Well, not on my vinyl, no.
No, but on Spotify you did.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to make that connection and differentiate between the 2 channels. It's a whole lot harder.
Definitely.
Unless you're like right near the speakers and you have one on each side of you. Like how my setup is in my house, on my desk, I have a speaker on each side of my desk. So when I listen to vinyl a lot, I can really differentiate a stereo mix because they're literally right in front of me. So, but if I was like on the other side of the room, like you are, like you're like a good 8 or 9 feet from your speakers, I feel like it could be a lot harder to differentiate, the different side, the 2 different sides.
It wasn't even like it was hard. I couldn't hear it at all.
Yeah.
And usually I can at least vaguely hear it. It's like, okay, I can tell there's something going on here. But this was I could not tell at all.
Just nothing.
No, nothing. But I think the stars are projectors is also a knock on like how humanity will look to religion to shed light on like life. Rather like each star, like imagine each star shedding its own unique religious view back on Earth. You know what I mean? Like every you look up in the sky and it's like everybody on Earth sees these stars, and everybody kind of has like their own interpretation, their own belief on what these stars mean, what is happening, what's going on, whether or not the stars even exist. Some people, and it's true. It's great, like all of these different viewpoints, and it's also interesting to think. And this is what the album does super fucking cool. Is it's interesting to think that every single one of these stars, like, they're all seeing us at different points in history. Because if we take like like light years and how long it takes for light to travel. And if we see a star that's billions of light years away, then that star is probably does not look like the way it is if we travel to it, because it'll be billions of years in the future. And so you think all of these stars are now looking at us at the same time. They're all looking at us at the same time. However, our light is reflecting back at them at different points in our history. So one star is seeing us in, pre-BC, and then one star is seeing us in today's time. And that's weird. It's weird. It's
a
uncertain.
weird concept.
It makes you feel kind of queasy. I don't know. I think like ultimately the song evokes the emotion of posing the question of creation in its simplest form. And it does so in the last line of where do circles begin? And I think that's like such a childish thing to do, because circles begin when I put the fucking pencil on the paper and draw a circle. But it's such a childish concept of like, where do circles begin? Well, where does God exist? Like, well, who is God? All of these things are being posed in this album. And I think ultimately that's why I said I don't think that it comes from like a depression thing. I think it comes from a standpoint of him just like literally just, I don't know, questioning.
But I feel like the depression or his feelings of sadness, depression, anxiety is caused by these questions.
I think it's the opposite. I think these questions are causing him anxiety.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, these questions are coming from anxiety or depression. I think he's asking these questions and thinking like, holy fuck, where does God come from? Who did create God? Now I feel weird. Not like I feel weird. Where does God come from? You know what I mean? Like, there's kind of two different camps.
There are, but I wouldn't necessarily say the theme of this record is based off of religion or his thoughts on the afterlife, because there are other songs that don't touch upon that. So that's why I'm saying I think the theme is more depression and anxiety, obviously caused by outside factors, but that is the theme.
I think the theme is uncertainty, which bleeds into complacency.
Okay.
Because it opens up with uncertainty, and it closes with complacency. It opens up the third rock, the song Third Rock, that's a little bit uncertain. And then it closes with complacency of, whatever.
Third Rock from the Sun. Yeah.
Third Rock from the Sun. That's such a bad show.
That's terrible. I don't know why people like
that show.
I didn't even like it when I was a kid, and then I watched a few episodes as an adult. It's terrible.
And everything I've ever seen like John Lithgow in, I've always liked. I just cannot stand him in that show.
It was bad. This was just
dumb,
a bad show.
Stupid. It's like that era's of Big Bang Theory. Stupid.
I don't think it's as bad as Big Bang Theory, but it's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Pretty bad. All right. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, cool. Should we? Let's play. You want to play a little bit of it?
I mean, you got more B's. We'll play B's. Starch Predictors.
Like I said, I only have 5 B's, and so I only have 1 B left. So
we already burned through half of them.
So let's play. I'm just gonna play a little bit. So here's the Stars Are Projectors from Modest Mouse. There you go. The Stars Are Projectors from Modest Mouse. So how many bangers do you have again?
They're all bangers except for one that I thought maybe could be a maybe song.
You're fucking crazy. So then what's your 4B? Or no, 3B. 3B, I guess.
1, 2. I thought we did.
Because Stars Are Projectors is your 2. Because you're weird.
Oh no, we did my 4B because it was Packin' Dogs. So my 3B, let's go back up, and that's Perfect Disguise.
Perfect Disguise. Okay, that's not a B for me, but all right. Why?
That's fine.
Talk to me.
So like, if you didn't know, he had been accused of rape in this era right before this album came out, and I think Perfect Disguise is it seems to be about that, like about the rape allegations. And it's really hard to talk about because you don't want to take sides, and you shouldn't be taking sides. But like the way like earthly judicial system is set up is like you kind of want to take sides between the innocent and guilty, but it's not as clear cut as that. However, Isaac has gone on to talk about it, not extensively, but continuously throughout the years, even to like this day, people still fucking ask him about it, and he kind of just he's not saying like, oh, I'm 100% innocent. It's always just like, you know what? There are always two sides to a story, and I'm happy with what happened for my side or how I feel things happened or whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like a rapist, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
given that, I think the song is about that because that those allegations came out like a year before this album came out. And I love this melody. I love the guitar notes. I like how they get higher and the bass gets lower. So one's going up, one's going down. Again, balance and contrast. I think it's a pretty sounding song. Like it just sounds pretty, but it's very angry in his lyrics. And again, all about contrast. Very, very short. And I don't know. I it's fucking cool. It's about someone who's like clearly stepping over someone to get ahead. And that could be about like the rape allegations, or that could be about something else. Everyone thinks about the rape allegations. He says that maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That's what he does best. That's great. Build your brand. I get it.
Fucking riding that fence, right?
Yeah, dude.
Something
Build
I
your
know
brand,
everything
man.
about.
Build your brand, baby. I get it.
That's
I understand it. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of lyricists do that. That's not like unique to him in any capacity.
I know.
And I dude, the line like "you cocked your head to shoot me down" is so good. It's so fucking cool. And then I was like thinking, like, you cocked your head back, like you're gonna spit on somebody, or like you cocked your head to the side. And so then I Googled it. I Google searched cocked head, and you know, because Google knows all, and everything that you get on the internet's real. I discovered that behavioral patterns show a lot of results were showing that females cock their heads more than males do. They cock their heads to the side due to a perceived nurturing, like subconscious that they have.
What?
To make them project to males that they are understanding, that they are listening to what they're saying. And if that's true, it is fucking brilliant by Isaac, because if you take that what I just said by the Google search, if you think that Isaac thinks that females cock their head to the side in a perceived deceptive manner, that makes this song so goddamn good.
Or how about
because cocking your head to the side is making me believe that you are interested in me. And then the next line or the next part of it, just to shoot me down. Oh, it's heart-wrenching. It is fantastic writing.
Yeah, it is. And so I just thought of this right now. I thought of this right now with the lyrics, and it's vulgar. So I'm saying that this is kind of vulgar what I'm going to say, but considering the rape allegations, the line "'cause you cocked your head to shoot me down," the "'cause you cocked your head" meaning that she went down on him, and that's kind of where the rape allegation comes in, and then to shoot me down, like she did this intentionally. She intentionally went down on him, knowing full well what she was going to do in the end, of accusing him of the rape. I don't know. Maybe it's vulgar, and maybe it's kind of a stretch. That's maybe
double entendre. I like it.
It might be. I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of vulgar, but throwing that line out there.
I like it because it's like subtly kind of like a fuck you to her. And he's a staunch supporter, and he had the backing of like most of Seattle behind him and most of the Pacific Northwest, saying like he didn't do it, and like I know this girl, and yada yada yada, and all that stupid shit. I don't know. Really, much like he says, there are only two people that fucking know what happened, and he's comfortable with his side of the story. Like that's like his famous line that he says, and that's true. Like only really two people know exactly what happened. And if both people are comfortable with their side of the story, then we need to investigate further.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So given that, I think Perfect Disguise is really cool because I think it's one of those songs that has great contrast. It's, like I said, it's angry in lyrical tone, but it's kind of like a pretty song. The guitar notes are kind of like climbing up, and the bass kind of just climbs down. Everything is just contrasted so damn perfectly. It's a well-crafted song.
And I will say I agree with you with the contrast. Lyrically, I got something different, but musically, I have it's a slower song. It's a little bit more ethereal, dreamy sounding, airy sounding, or like what you said, it's like pretty. It sounds nice. It's pleasant. On top of that, there's a lot of harms, and they're really good harms that he does. And to throw it a little bit back too. His vocal delivery reminds me a lot of Kurt, or not a lot, but a little bit of Kurt Cobain.
Ooh,
it's like some of the softer moments that Kurt had, like on, the Unplugged stuff. Some of the stuff some of the softer stuff on In Utero, that's kind of what I was reminded of when I was listening to this particular song.
I don't disagree in any way. These guys lied about where they were from to get away from the grunge scene because they didn't want to be grouped into the grunge scene. However, god damn, dude, there's a lot of songs on here and what they've done prior to this where their guitar tone is grunge. It is fucking straight grunge.
Oh, definitely. And speaking
I
of
love
other,
they can't get away with it. It's so cool.
Other
it's fucking
influence,
rad. It just seeps into them.
One big influence I picked up on was sometimes his vocals remind me a lot of Les Claypool. The way he kind of delivers the lines and kind of has that, like he kind of has that the twanginess, but not nearly as cool as Les Claypool. I feel like he picks a lot from Kurt Cobain and Les Claypool at this period.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
I totally agree with Les Claypool because really it's hard to be this kind of quirky without being like a joke, I guess, without being perceived as a joke. And Les Claypool has embraced the joke so much that has become his sound.
Seriously.
And it's either that or you just become a joke. But Isaac has not become a joke quite yet at this point in their career.
I also hear from a band that's a little bit newer than Modest Mouse, a band I feel took probably a lot from Modest Mouse on the first three records is Brand New. I hear a lot of Jesse Lacey in the vocal melody and tones, and kind of the overall songwriting is similar to Brand New. But just the first three, just really honestly the first three Modest Mouse records. After that, it's Brand New sounds nothing like anything after. But I hear a lot of Jesse Lacey with the style. The style definitely.
Very interesting. And it's crazy to think that like this album is 1999. Like this, they have two albums prior to this. This is 21, 22 years old.
And it makes sense. It makes sense with like the Jesse Lacey thing too, because that's kind of when Taking Back Sunday started and when he was in Taking Back Sunday. So, they were kind of still probably influenced by bands like this. So, the timeline all really kind of makes sense with that. But, this is it's not a banger, but it's not anywhere close to being a stinker. It's a good song. It really is just a good song. But lyrically, I kind of took it, he could either be talking about a romantic relationship or he could be just talking about a very good friendship, and how the person is kind of two-faced, how they present themselves one way, but once you get to know them, they're very different. They're more cynical, they're backstabbing, they're pretty much all the negative things you could talk about somebody, and that's what it is, and that's what this perfect disguise means, is that they're able to put on that front, that face to everybody else, but once you get to know them, they're just not good people. And we all know people like that, growing up and into our young adulthood. We kind of realize, some of the friends we used to know are kind of shitty people, so probably not going to hang out with them anymore. Like I have friends that I never thought I would not be friends with, but I haven't talked to them in years. So it's just because you kind of realize these things as you mature. So I think this is also a show of his maturity from, being a teenager to adulthood.
Does that change your perspective, reinforce your perspective, or doesn't do anything knowing about the rape allegations prior to this album coming out?
Wait. Say that again? What?
So knowing what happened, does that change your perspective on this song? Because, everything you said could be in line with the woman that he's talking about with the rape allegations. But does that change your perspective on the song? Does that make no difference?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't make a difference because this is my
reinforce.
It doesn't change my opinion because his lyrics are so out there. They're just so, like you said, ambiguous that they could almost be about anything. So it doesn't really change my mind because I don't know what he's talking about, and he refuses to talk about what any of his lyrics are about, which is very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. So I don't know. I understand your viewpoint.
I fucking love when people, when artists don't want to get into, because they're so personal. It's so personal. Like this is their craft. This is their creation. And I love when artists don't get into detail about what something means, because not only does it leave for just like good conversation, but it's none of our fucking business. Like, this is something that they put out that meant something to them, and it just so happened that we love it, and they love that we love it, and they'll keep doing it for us. But we don't need to know everything.
True, that's true.
Much like creation. Like, God, like, do we really, like, honestly, do you really want to fucking know everything?
I guess
don't know.
I guess in theory you would want to know everything, but in the end, when you really think about it, you probably wouldn't. It would probably destroy you.
It would destroy you.
Yeah.
Like being able to hear your pets talk or think or whatever. You know, like if your pets could talk, like,
yeah.
would you want to hear your pets fucking talk? No, they shit on you all day. Like, bro, you lay around all day. They clean your shit up. Help me. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. That's all they would say.
Or knowing what everybody else thinks. Can you imagine
Like
how
Mel Gibson, What Women Want.
that was actually exactly what I thought about.
That was a dumb fucking movie. But
It's very stupid.
that moment when he could not harness his power, and he's walking around, and he could hear all of what women want. And obviously it was in a dumb cliche 90s way, but just the overload of information, it's too much.
It's kind of devastating.
It is.
Yeah.
It's too much. Too much.
All right. Should we play a bit of Perfect Disguise?
Oh, dude, we got so many songs. I mean, do you
Or
have
no,
any more Bs?
no. I have one more B.
We'll play your 1B, because, I mean, I get into every single one of these goddamn songs. I swear to God.
Well, I mean every song, but
What is your next B?
my 4B, my final B. Well, I mean I had 5 Bs, but we were talking about my 5. So my final B is A Different City.
Ooh.
Yeah. This one, it starts off kind of fast. It slows down in the verses, but it's a kind of a nice back and forth. I really like the different guitar effects that they use on this one. It adds so much depth to the overall song. But to me, the highlight is the bass line. All the bass playing on this song is the highlight for me. I think
Okay.
that's the coolest part of the song musically. But there's a lot going on here. A lot to kind of unpack musically, but it's good. A Different City. Where does this one sit for you?
This is my 12B.
Oh my God.
12B. I
way
like
too many
these
Bs.
little ecstatic intros. I do. They're cool. I like how angry this sounds. It's dramatic. It's frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Some of the guitar tones in this one also, like, for real, is reminding me of the grunge scene. Like this, they can't hide it.
Yeah.
And they try to distance themselves from it so much, but it seeps through in songs like this. It's so subtle that if you don't, I guess if you're not paying attention to it, then you would miss it. Or if you didn't know they're from Seattle, you may have missed it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there. Dude, the grunge sound is there. That tone is fucking there in this album. It's crazy. It's funny. It's cute. But there's a lot of yelling. There's a lot of yelling in the verses, and it supports like the frustration and feeling of giving up out of anger, which I think like ultimately this song's about. It's about isolation. He's shutting himself off from the world by getting lost in what's killing society, as he thinks. TV, politicians, products, whatever it is.
Yeah. Lyrically on this one, to me at least, it's about his depression, but at this point he just kind of wants to get away from everything. Like it's a stimulation overload. So he needs to get away from it all to just be in complete isolation for a bit. And that's what it is. I'm a different city being I need to leave my current situation and just kind of reset. And that's what I got with this one. I don't know. I don't think I couldn't get anything deeper on this one.
No, again, I'm going to reiterate that I don't think anything on this album is about depression. I think just because you want to leave everybody and be by yourself alone in the dark does not necessarily mean you're depressed. And I think that's like a weird gray area that it's hard to cross over into. It's hard to say that person is depressed objectively because they're by themselves, because they're in a dark room alone, because they don't want to talk to anybody. Well, no, you don't know what they are thinking. So I think that's what this album is really, really getting into, is just asking these questions. It's just, thought provoking. It's very, here's how I feel. Maybe you feel the same way. I don't know. It's ambiguous. I dig.
I know. That's very ambiguous. It's confusing. There are even times on this. So there are some songs where I just write, I don't know what he's talking about.
There was one song that even like I was just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
I think that was so much word vomit.
That was Paper Thin Walls. Paper Thin Walls. I was just like, I don't fucking know.
Let me see. What did I put for that one?
That was my 13B.
So no, I didn't. I was definitely not a banger, but yeah, I didn't put. That wasn't one of the songs where I didn't know Life Like Weeds was a song where I can't figure out what the song was about.
Oh, Life Like Weeds is so good.
Yeah, I could not.
Cool fucking lyrics. Eyes need us to see, and hearts need us to bleed. This is like this is such a vulnerable right there. This is such a vulnerable acknowledgement of the human condition. It's a deep dive into a problem that's worth having. We allow ourselves to get hurt because it's better than not feeling anything. I know this is probably going to fuck me, but 80% of this time I'm going to feel really good. Much like that Mitch Hedberg joke. Like, hey, Mitch, do you want an apple? Nah, because eventually it'll be a core.
Oof.
No. You know what I mean? Like that
Bringing Mitch into this. Oh.
That is Life Like Weeds. I just thought of that right now. That is Life Like Weeds. Like that is what he's talking about. Life Like Weeds is my 6B. It's such a fucking good song. Like, oof.
I mean, we'll get into that
line,
next,
dude.
right? Or
do you want to get into it right now? To see and hearts need us to bleed.
That is a good line. It is a really good line.
It's so good. It's the cheesiest thing ever. It's so good.
Let's get into this song then. What do you got on this one?
Dude, indie strums. Straight out the gate. Indie strums, love them. Really cool guitar riffs that just kind of like run and jam. It's fun stuff. When he's yelling on top of the loud strums, and then the drum is doing some cool fills, that's gold. That's gold. And it's a long song, and there's a lot of jamming here. And he comes in at the end, and he's just kind of talking over the music. Mm-hmm. And that part is when it's just absolute gold. Because it's almost like he's just talking to you.
So wait, taking it back a little bit, you said indie strums?
Indie strums.
What are indie strums?
Indie strums are the intro to this song. Like that is an indie strum. Indie strums.
Okay. All right.
They're typical of a lot of indie bands. The Strokes do it a lot.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
It's just they're indie strums.
It's just something I haven't heard thrown around.
I made it up this week. It's
okay.
I'm seeing if it catches on.
This song for me, it jumps around a lot. There's a lot going on. There's some really cool. I put cool indie lead guitar parts because they're not.
That's indie strum, baby.
I wouldn't call it indie strum. Oh, maybe I guess it is. I don't know. But there's a lot of that, and then they kind of throw in that funk thing, that funk that just like not randomly, but there's a lot of like funk playing, and then on top of that, it goes into like just some weird guitar effects, and like they're constantly jumping around between these three things, and then you kind of have that underlying bass playing, and it's kind of the song really is all over the place, and maybe that adds to the confusion of the lyrics because, like I said, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. So
I think Life Like Weeds is just that. I think it's just about I don't know like weeds. I don't know. Weeds are a part of life. They fucking happen.
Yeah,
it's you cannot control them, and much along line with what I think the album's theme is uncertainty meets complacency. Is you need to accept the inevitable and the unpredictability. Like you got to go with it. It's going to happen. You cannot control it. You cannot predict it. Nothing else. Live. Go on.
All right. Let's play a little bit of Life Like Weeds because we haven't played a song for a while.
Indie drums.
Fucking idiot. Here's Life Like Weeds from Modest Mouse. There you go. Life Like Weeds from the Modest Mice. All right. Do we have anything else on this song? What do you think?
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
I don't know when I muted that. I don't know why I did that. I was just sitting here staring at my computer.
Staring at nothing.
I was probably indie strumming.
See, that was
indie
the
strums,
funk
baby.
part, though. That was really the funk part that I was.
Those are indie strums, kid. Those are high pitch. Those are clean. Those are
it's more
underneath
funk.
Those goofy vocals. Those are indie strums.
More funk. That's
I mean,
the way
if you
she
want to
goes.
give him more credit, I'll give him more credit. Sure.
I mean,
put
I
his
don't
funk all
want
day.
to, but I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I
It's your
have
funk.
to. Yeah, they're a
Yeah.
funk band now. Yeah, fucking Parliament over here.
Bam, 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 bam.
Dude, that's funk.
Yeah,
Come on.
no, that's
Is that all we got on this one?
yeah, that's it.
That's it. All right. What other songs do you want to get into? The rest of this is you. I mean, I'm curious what you like.
Everything else seems to be 7B or higher. So I will end with my 5B because it's the last song. What People Are Made Of. That's my 5B. It's a closer.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this might be like a B for you because it's short, it's fast, it's hard, it's frantic, and you like those any song that kind of sort of similar sounds like a punk song. You always attach yourself to.
I do normally,
So, I
and
don't know.
I feel like this is a good way to end the record because I feel like how they started the record was really bad. Because I don't think that's a particularly good song, Third Planet.
I also think so. People think that like the intro to this album being Third Planet, which I think is a good like thesis statement kind of because way too many notes on that one. But I don't think it's like it's my 10B. Like it's great. It's fantastic. But good God, there's 9 other songs that are way better than this.
Yeah, I don't think it.
People
I think it's
love
kind of
that shit.
I think it's kind of a boring song. It's fine, but it just to start a record out, it didn't excite me. It didn't give me a lot of hope for the rest of the record because I thought, dude, you're throwing this as the first song, like what have I got myself into after listening to the second record, the one before this. And yeah, I was a little worried. I honestly was a little worried. But then it gets much better, especially halfway through the record, it gets much better, but then to end it on What People Are Made Of, I thought that was really cool. It was a good throwback to like their first record. Like let's go like let's really kind of make it rough and tumble, and just have a good time doing it. But I think the only reason why this isn't a banger because like by the time I get here, I'm kind of already, I don't want to say burn out, but I just kind of don't. It's kind of I've kind of lost the excitement. Like had
Well,
this
you're 54 minutes into the record.
exactly, and that's
get it.
that's kind of like a big issue I had with this band is like every record is at least 55 minutes long for the most part. Like everything's like half of them are over an hour long. It's like, dude, this is way too much. And then reading more about this fucking band, every record has like a shit ton of B-sides. So, or like every other record does.
And
Yeah.
live track. Dude, this band is insane.
So they have
this
so
band
much.
is like this band is like the Grateful Dead. When they play some of this shit live, it's like 20 minutes long, and some of these instrumentals will go on just for 14 minutes on a 3-minute song.
Yeah.
And they'll change things and they do little things different. And then I was reading too that, I mean, this did not come from anybody in the band. It was just secondhand knowledge or third-hand knowledge, I guess. But the way they wrote music in the early days was just jam. Mm-hmm. And if a melody arises from that jam session, then let's extrapolate on that melody. But it was just like, let's jam first and see where we go from there. But I
like
kind
that
of
idea.
believe it because of these songs are very jammy. These songs do kind of just go to its own place instrumental wise. Mm-hmm. Like I said in the beginning, you could take out all vocals in this and it would still be a pretty cool album instrumentally.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I feel about the first 3 records. I feel like they could have been a really cool just instrumental band. That you like there'd be a really cool instrumental band that you would find on Bandcamp. Like I don't know how much you've searched on Bandcamp, but a lot of the instrumental stuff you find on there sounds a lot like this. At least it did 10 years ago when I was on Bandcamp a lot.
Yeah, where do you think they got the inspiration from?
I mean, it could have been from so many different bands, not just fucking Modest Mouse.
No, that's.
I don't want to give them
come
too
on,
much credit.
Like the influence that this specific album had on music is insane.
I know it's big. I know. I understand it's big.
It's
but
truly big. It's insane. This is like one of those albums that you don't even realize how big it is until you like Google search, hey, how big is the Moon and Antarctica? And then you realize, holy fuck, this album is massive. Right? Like, come on. Like, did you ever think this album would be as influential as
no
big of a legacy as when you Googled it for the first time?
Because all I had known was Float On and a couple of the shitty pop singles. But then
it's crazy.
That's like what I was saying before. Like when I first heard, fuck, dude, Shit Luck. I didn't know. I had no idea that it was Modest Mouse. I never heard Modest Mouse do anything like that. I was fucking blown away. That song is it's pretty much an instrumental song, but it was just so fucking cool.
And it's always hard to like judge a band based off their biggest singles because it's not
that's
entirely fair. But then it's also, the band did kind of allow it to happen because they pushed Float On so hard, and now they changed direction again. So everybody's kind of to blame. So no one's at fault. Everyone's to blame.
No one's at fault. And then actually, like something I read that I thought was cool. It was cool on their end. Was it a song off of this record, or was it off of the one with Float On, where they actually sold the song to Nissan or something like that for a car commercial?
I think that was this album.
It was this one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did it just to make the money, and they were very transparent about it to fans. They were like, "Yeah, we don't want to work as a dishwasher for the rest of our lives. We want to make a consistent living." I love it.
That was the quote that made people hate and love Isaac. Was he said that yes, we sold out, but like, who the fuck do you think we are? Like, we are musicians. We are here to make a living. I don't want to work for somebody else washing their dishes. That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I love that too. I think that's great. It's like the Black Keys. The Black Keys are the same way. They were famous.
They're not good, but
no. But what I'm saying is the Black Keys from like the late '90s up until like 2010, they had made like all of their money through commercials because they were selling all their. Even though they weren't super popular, they were selling their songs to commercials, and that's where they were making their money. And then they got their big hits like in the early 2010s, late 2000s, but prior to that, their shit was everywhere, but nobody really knew because they're car commercials. Nobody really pays attention to the car commercial songs. So, but I mean, I have a lot of respect for that. I mean, if you're gonna do that, then fucking be transparent about it. Be cool about it. Don't be a dick about it. Don't think that.
Especially if you're the Black Keys and you married fucking whoever the guy married Michelle Branch. So
yeah, the drummer did. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got something going for himself.
I know, dude. Michelle Branch, man.
Come on.
Have you listened to her re-recording of The Spirit Room?
No.
No, I haven't either. I've been wanting to. But you like that record, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I do.
I mean,
it's been a while.
It's been a long time. Yeah. No, it's been a long time. But yeah, no, I'm interested in how it sounds. But then he plays drums on it and he produced it. So
of course.
Yeah.
God forbid you don't play the fucking drums on it.
I know, like, dude, like one of the worst drummers. Like we all talk shit on Meg White, but
he's Meg White brother. You know
he's
what I mean?
like
He's
he's
Meg
like
White number 2.
He's like Meg White, but thinks he's good, or people think he's good, but when you actually look at the music, like he's not fucking good at all.
He's like Lars Ulrich mentality mixed with Meg White's capability.
Yes, exactly, exactly. That's perfect. That's spot on.
Boring.
Spot on. But whatever. Anyway, what people are made of.
Yeah, no, this is the last track. I think this is so like lyrically what got me with this one was the idea and of like right when you're born. And I don't know where I read this, but somebody like posited this argument of right when you're born, you've essentially like unwillingly signed this contract that you accept that one day you will die. Mm-hmm. Without even like possible consent. You've already agreed in these terms that one day you will now die. And I think that the music matches that mindset. If one day you're thinking like, who do I fucking sue? I didn't sign up for this shit. Somebody forced me to sign this contract that now I'm going to die. Mm-hmm. And it sounds so childish and dumb. Right? Like, yeah, of course, everybody fucking dies. But it's just, I don't know. When you really think about it, like, you know what I mean? It's just a weird,
I get it.
It's a weird concept. Like, you did sign this contract that you're going to fucking die one day. You don't want to. Nobody asked you.
Yeah.
You were forced. And I like that. I like that. And I think this is a perfect closer because, again, I think this entire concept of this album is uncertainty meets complacency. And this album ends with this weird concept of now you're going to die no matter what because you were forced into it. But, whatever. Let's move on.
Now
and that's it. And we're done.
Now, my viewpoint on the lyrics, I feel like this kind of reinforces my idea that he's questioning, or his curiosity of the afterlife is here in this song and various parts of this record. And to me, this is like him having a near-death experience where he's in a coma, but while he's in a coma, for whatever you kind of want to believe, he's kind of in purgatory, in limbo, and he's given the decision: does he want to come out of the coma and live the rest of his life, or does he want to just let everything go and die, and then take the risk of it being terrible or really good? Like, I feel like he's given this decision in a coma whether or not to live or die, and that's what this song is to me. That's kind of what I've interpreted this song as. And then in the end, I think he chooses to die, and that's the end of the record. So it's the chaos, the chaos of because this song is so chaotic and reminiscent of their first record. The chaos of the song is the whatever traumatic incident happens that goes into the coma, and then the coma is his uncertainty of choosing, to stay alive, come out of the coma, stay alive, or just die, and then choosing death. And then when death happens, it ceases. Everything's done. There's nothing.
I like.
That's what I get from this one.
I dig, baby. I dig.
I don't know. Who fucking knows at this point?
It's so good. It's so fucking good. I love this so much. It's so good. It's amazing. It's truly amazing, and I love it. And much like the sense, like I said earlier, where you talk when you're drunk and about these crazy endeavors that you have. Like, yeah, let's start a bar, man. Oh, for sure. And you have these crazy thoughts, but really, it means nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I like about this album. It presents all of these topics, all of these existential questions that you have, and the cover is, who's shaking hands? These two beings from heaven are coming down. All of these things, but realistically, who fuck cares? And I think ultimately that's what it comes down to is, I don't really care that much, which is also a dig at like society in general, because we don't give a shit about anything.
Or it just reinforces his anxiety about death and the afterlife, having it just be black, be nothing. Like he's given all these ideas of an afterlife of heaven and hell and bliss and nirvana, but then all of that anxiety and comes to a head at the very end when he does choose death, in the gamble that it is going to be that, but then it's not. I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, I get it. I understand it. I still just think that he's. I almost want to say he doesn't really care about anything, but then also at the same time he cares about everything. There's this weird line that he likes to ask these questions, not because he wants the answers, but because he just wants, I don't know, more questions. I don't know.
But isn't that kind of like what depression and anxiety is? That's exactly what it is.
No, because I think depression. I think putting like a blanket, I don't know.
It's a
definition
blanket term
over both of them is not right. Because again, I think just because you sit in a corner by yourself in the dark, wanting to be alone, does not mean that you're depressed.
But
just because you worry about the future does not mean that you have anxiety. I think it's there. I mean, it's a spectrum, right? It's just there's so many different definitions of it. I think from what I have gone through this album over the years in this week, I think above all else, all he really wants to do is pose questions to make us, the reader, think about just life, not necessarily death or religion, just to think, just to posit questions, but then also remember that we cannot possibly have the answers to all these. We're not going to get the answers to all these questions. Mm-hmm. It's just not going to happen, and to be okay with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I understand what you mean. I do.
Because I mean, like, you can go to church for so fucking long, and you can, you can ask all these questions. You can go to college and take creationism and take philosophy, and you can ask all these questions. But like, as long as you know that you're probably not going to have the answer to 1% of the questions you ask, and as long as you're okay with that, then that's fine. I don't know. I had a good time. This is fun.
This was an interesting week. Some very
This
low
was fun.
moments. Some very low moments for sure. So, do we want to talk about any other song, or do you want to wrap it up? What do you think?
No, I'm good. I am good. Let's close it out.
Okay, we're going like about an hour and 40 minutes. This is quite a long one. So
That's a long one.
all right, so let's give our final thoughts, and then we will rate the record with our world famous 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect record, 2 is a good record you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad record but you should give it a shot, and 0 is just the fucking worst thing you've ever heard. So, what do you got, Jeff? Go.
So this week was very interesting. I read things about this that I never thought I would feel. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of feeling with this. I'm not like crazy about his vocals. I do think he tries really hard to be unique, but I also think that he utilizes his voice in a way that makes it that it's an instrument rather than like he's singing. Like he's just adding another layer. Mm-hmm. And we didn't even talk about like the whole broken jaw thing and the fact that he couldn't sing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
For most of this album, and therefore that is why they dove really heavily into the layering of instrumentals, is because he couldn't fucking sing
for like 2 months.
Yeah,
he got like jumped in a park. Yeah, a park in Chicago where they were recording it. He got jumped, and yeah, they literally beat the shit out of him, broke his jaw, wired shut for 2 or 3 months. Yeah, and that was it.
So he literally could not. He could not sing, and so that's why they dove really heavily into the instrumentals, into the layering, into the production side of things, and I think that also probably left him, questioning things he may never have questioned before, because what better to do when you're lying in a hospital bed as some doctor's wiring your mouth shut than to wonder, how the fuck did I get here? You know what I mean?
And is it worth it?
Like, is it worth it? And so these are just questions that we all go through in life, and good, bad, religious, atheist, whatever it is. These are things that we can ponder, and it's okay to worry about it, and it's okay to accept the fact that you're probably never going to know the answer to them. And again, like I will reinforce this over and over. I think this album's theme, its concept is uncertainty meets complacency. It's okay to be worried. It's okay to be anxious. It's okay to not know what's going to happen. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be right. But ultimately, you gotta you gotta let it go. Mm-hmm. Much like the song about gravity. Like, gravity's all around us. We take it for granted. It's here. It shapes who we are. It shapes how we build things. It shapes humanity. It shapes the world. Nothing we can do about it. Work around it. Accept it. Move on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. Given all of that, I think the production's fucking top notch. Like they utilized Epic Records. It was Epic, right? Yeah, they utilized Epic Records. Epic. They utilized their production team. They utilized their studio space. They slayed at the production. I think it sounds fantastic. Went out on the vinyls. I think it sounds amazing. I think everything about this record is great. I think it's layered perfectly. I think everybody brings the heat when they need to. The drummer, I think, is underrated because the drummer is really, really good at this time. Mm-hmm. He can do really, really great things, but this is more of an Isaac and guitar album than it is a band album. And so I think that's why the drummer and the bass player does bring the heat in about half the songs, but the other half, he's just there for support.
True.
So given all that, this is one to be had. This is one that you need to listen to. This is a must listen to before you die. This was on God's top 50 albums that you must listen to before you die. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Whatever. This is perfect. This is a perfect 3. This is such a beautiful album. It's amazing.
Oh God.
It does everything. It literally does everything for me. It makes me think. It makes me feel. I get angry. I get sad. I get happy. I want to listen again. Every time I listen to it, I pick up something new. This week is one week that I've really dove into like the religious aspect. And there's a song on here that I thought like he was having a conversation with God himself or herself. And it was just, there was a lot of cool things going on here that I've never picked up on before. Never been a lyric man before, but I've never been picked up on before. And I really enjoyed it. I love this album. Love it.
Yeah, it's good. I can't believe you gave it a 3 out of 3.
Oh, dude, this is magnificent.
You're
This
wild.
This is the pinnacle of indie rock. The pinnacle. Nothing. There is no indie rock album that is better than this. That is fact.
Clarity. Boom, roasted.
You drive a hard bargain. You drive a hard bargain with that one. Tell you what.
Come on, dude.
Tell you what.
Come on, Clarity.
But
90s indie. You can't.
That's
fuck
getting
with
more
Clarity.
into like emo pop though.
That's what this is too. It's emo pop as well.
No, there's no emo pop in this.
Dude,
whatsoever.
get out of here, dude.
No.
You're crazy. Don't even. You can't even argue. Like,
There's
and
not.
I like when I brought that up. There was silence. Normally, you come back like immediately. Like you start
Because
screaming
Clarity
at
was
me
a good
like
one. Clarity was a good one. Clarity was a good one.
because it's the best.
But Clarity is dude, Clarity's more of an emo pop album. Clarity's not nearly as layered as this, and it doesn't want to be. It's more stripped down, and it's like punk rock origins, but also adopting emo kind of mindset of the time. Not like emo as we know it in the hardcore realm, but emo
No, I know what
pop
you mean.
and then like the Taking Back Sunday realm. But this is not doing any of that. This is taking indie rock and doing indie strums.
All it's doing is adding a little bit more layering to it.
Dude, you're talking a little more layering. This is incredibly layered.
Also,
This is
Jim Adkins. Also, the back and forth between Jim and Tom. What's the guitarist's name? Can't even think right now.
Oh, Tom Linden?
Tom Lind. Yeah, the way that they kind of play off of each other vocally, and guitar wise too, is perfection on that record.
No, that's a lot softer. That's definitely.
It doesn't
like
matter
emo
if
pop.
it's softer or
Yeah.
not. Who
No,
gives a fuck?
because I wouldn't put that in the same realm.
No,
I
you're
wouldn't say like
crazy.
indie rock album and say Clarity's there. No,
Clarity is
buying it.
the best indie rock.
no, because
record
Static
of the
Prevails
90s.
is more like post hardcore than anything, and then
It's
you're
closer-
getting to Bleed American, which is like pop punk. So I don't think they ever transitioned from post hardcore to pop punk through indie rock. I think it was emo.
It was, but I still think this record, this Modest Mouse record, is still emo, like old emo, not like we were talking about, not like emo of the 2000s, but 90s emo and indie. I feel like both this record and Clarity both sit in that same field, and I honestly think Clarity is a better record, through and through.
I mean, I would. I mean, if we're just one versus one, I will say Clarity is a better record. Yes, but I don't think they're playing the same game.
I think they are.
No.
Yeah, I think you're just so blinded by Modest Mouse, and
I just said Clarity's a better record. Like,
I know,
how
but
can you be blinded by
I think
Modest
you're just
Mouse?
blinded by that, by thinking that they were doing something that revolutionary, which was, I mean, they were doing something cool, but it wasn't. I don't think it was that revolutionary.
I mean,
I feel like most
no, it's not
bands,
revolutionary. This is 1999. People have been layering music since the 60s.
but it's not
the
just
50s,
no.
the
But I'm not just
40s.
saying layering, but when you look at like artists from like the 2000s, early 2010s, more bands are going to cite Clarity as an influence than this Modest Mouse record. I mean, I understand this Modest Mouse record is very influential. I'm not knocking that at all, but comparing those two, I mean, just in that sense, Clarity is way more influential. Not only that, but it's just a better
I'm not
record.
putting Clarity in any way, shape, or form in indie rock. It's emo, and it's if anything, it's pop punk. But it's emo.
Clarity is
it's
not
emo
pop punk.
for sure.
No, Clarity is not pop punk.
Blister,
Not even
dude,
close.
Blister's a pop punk song. Take advantage of
But then,
these
okay,
tonsils.
so you have one song that stands out from the other, much like you have one song on this record that stands out from the other. That being the
It's not
Wild
just
Pack of
one
Dogs.
song. Lucky Denver Mint. That's a pop punk song.
Dude, get out of here.
A
man.
Sunday on
Okay,
a Sunday.
but we're also talking overall too.
Come
We're
on
talking
now.
overall.
No.
Overall, they're in the same playing field.
now more out of your
Now you're mad.
out of your ring, because no, Clarity is an emo pop album / pop punk album. In no way is Clarity an indie rock album.
You're wrong. I
Definitive.
I really don't agree with you on that.
And again, coming from Static Prevails, which is a very emo / post hardcore album, going into Bleed American, which is damn near straight up pop punk. You're saying the transition is indie? No.
We're also really, this whole argument is just very what am I trying to say? It's ridiculous in that we're just trying to find the smallest things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
we're just flexing our prowess at this point.
yeah, like throwing out all these, you know, different genres and terms.
Well,
It's
Mark Trombino was the one who first.
but this psychedelic indie. Jimmy Eat World didn't do that. They did a little bit on Modest Mouse. You know, just throwing out all these stupid genre terms. It's so dumb. I know we didn't say psychedelic, but you know, it's just.
This is what you do when like somebody brings up something that you know like a lot about, and then you attack them for it. They have no idea what they're in for. Yeah. Like, I just said I liked Outkast.
This is like the epitome of gatekeeping. That's what this is.
Yes, exactly.
The epitome of gatekeeping.
Yes.
But amongst just you and I.
Yeah.
Which is even worse. Because neither of us really want to back down. So we just keep getting more and more obnoxious.
Because it's not indie rock. It's fine.
Well, it's
what are
closer
your
to
final
indie
thoughts?
rock than pop punk. But my final thoughts, I was very surprised by this record. Like I said, Modest Mouse I never liked. I hate the pop stuff. I really do not like the stuff after this record. I think it's, for the most part, it's trash. And this song was very surprising. Like I said, I don't think it's their best record, but I was very blown away by their second record. And there's a lot of good stuff here. And after, you know, talking about this on the pod and kind of hearing the different viewpoints on the lyrics, it made me have a better appreciation of the record, because I kind of thought it was just a lot of the shit was word vomit, but I thought it was very interesting what your viewpoints on the lyrics actually were. So mix that with, you know, like we said, the layering of the music, because, you know, because of, you know, him breaking his jaw and this and that, you know, it added a different tone to the entire thing. There's a lot of cool stuff here. Some bad stuff, but some really cool stuff.
Wait, you think there's bad stuff here? Or do you think there's okay
I told you
stuff?
the Wild Pack of Dogs, man. That song is trash.
He's bad.
I think that's a stinker. I mean, it's a straight stinker.
Wow.
Because
I didn't say it was a stinker earlier. You said it was almost a stinker.
No, I didn't.
I
I said it was a
You
stinker.
said
No.
it was a
Yeah, I did.
stinker.
I
You said,
I know.
I'm Tyler. I'm an asshole.
And like I said, I don't like his vocals at all. I really don't. They're really obnoxious once he gets into the more poppy stuff,
Dude,
which
you
he started
listen
to
to
do.
fucking Mr. Motherfucker and it's 1946-66, and you come on over here telling me you don't like his vocals.
Yeah.
I literally hate all that you are.
That's fine.
Everything that you
That's fine.
pretend to be is just
That's fine.
I cannot.
But also, in my defense, you and I fucking love Tom DeLonge. So who the fuck are we to say one is better than the other in the end?
He's a good singer. So
I mean, Tom's obviously a shit singer, but we both fucking love him. So we're on even playing field right now. So
Tom's a better singer live than he is on album.
What?
I do enjoy Tom singing more live than I do on album.
No, it's the complete opposite.
Nah.
Dude, get the fuck out of here. Anyway.
It's honest. Keep him honest. Keep me honest.
No, stupid. So yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts. We talked about this a lot. Oh, I did want to say real quick, the album cover, I hate it. I fucking hate it. I wanted to say it earlier, but I kept forgetting. But I hate the album cover so much.
Do you hate it just because like half of the album is just barren?
It just looks terrible.
Nothing.
I don't like the layout of it, like the half picture, half nothing.
Yeah.
And then also the picture itself, just the handshake thing, it looks so stupid. It looks so Christian rock, like to the worst. I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Which is so great because it's it's like the antithesis of Christian rock.
And they probably love that album cover too when they chose it. It's terrible. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna give this album a 2 out of 3. I will go back to it. I would get it on vinyl if it was like $15.
Ooh, would you have kept this had I not bought it from you?
I wouldn't have kept it because I know you would have really wanted it. So I would have given it to you. So otherwise, yeah, I mean, if you didn't want it, I would have kept it. But yeah, anyway, 2 out of 3 for me. Let's see here. I don't know. Do we have anything else to say, or
that's all, kid.
Good? Okay. All right. So thank you all for listening. Go to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever you want to call it now. Go give us 5 stars on there. Give us a glowing review, please. And go to all social media at Asinine Radio. We have a Discord server. Hit that up. Whatever. Thank you all for listening. It's been a long one. Thanks for sticking around. And that's it. That's all. Good.
Hopefully the song is good because you already pre-ordered the album.
I did. I pre-ordered.
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 I did not do it. He did not do his homework. He's being negligent once again. So
your word of the day is negligent. That's like the second time you've said that. I don't like that you're doing that. Put your thesaurus.
I've thesaurus.
Put your thesaurus away.
And
if nothing else, even the moon in Antarctica, even in the moon in Antarctica, I've only listened to Lonesome Crowd of West, Moon Antarctica. Every time we say it, it sounds drunk, huh? Like
I know,
Moon Antarctica. It's been such a great ride. It's been such a great week.
What were you gonna say? Great ride.
Great Rick. I was gonna say Great Rick. That's what I was gonna say. Dude, this Moon in Antarctica thing has just got me all.
You can't even say it.
Got my brain all pooed up.